All right. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? Alan Jackson here with the Footcandle Film Festival, and you got Chris Fry over here on the other camera waving as well. We're still awake. We have been in this studio all day, hosting Q&As, live Q&As all day. It's been going great. I hope you've been able to stick around for some of them or watch some of them yourself. But we're here tonight to talk about the Night Gallery block of films that we just finished. Hopefully you just finished screening, or maybe you saw earlier in the day and you're joining us for the live Q&A. Or this live Q&A is being recorded, so you may be watching it later in the weekend. I don't know exactly.
In the future. In the future.
That's right. We're going to explain the tie-in with that here in just a second. But yes, William is right. It could have been in the future that you're watching this. And it's a whole time-space continuum thing going on here at the Footcandle Film Festival. Regardless, we're happy to have you here. And as you probably just saw, we do have a couple of filmmakers with us, both of them associated with one of the films in the block that we showed tonight, which was The Speed of Time, the one we'll be talking about here in a little bit. We may get crashed by one of the other filmmakers. We are expecting the filmmaker from Cringe, the first film in the block, to also join us, and they may still. So if they happen to pop in, we will certainly welcome them with open arms and bring them into the conversation. But I did want to kind of just recap again the films that we showed tonight, because the Night Gallery is always a lot of fun. Chris kind of, it's his baby a little bit. He goes completely on the curation side for the Night Gallery. We take the films that were submitted, that were really good films, high rated by our committee, but just felt like they fit into a nice mixed genre for a good late night screening. And that's the four we had tonight. We had the film Cringe, followed by Flora, which was a great short Victorian era type period piece. Speed of Time, we're going to talk about in a minute. And then ending with Seance, our horror film for the Night Gallery here. So I hope everybody enjoyed those selections. But let's go ahead and welcome our two filmmakers we've got with us today. They're both with the film The Speed of Time. We have with us on the left-hand side there on your screen, William Stribling. He's the director and a writer on the film. And then Russ Nickel to the right. And Russ, you were a co-writer as well, correct?
Hello, yeah.
Perfect. And just in case you guys recognize these faces, or at least William has been in Hickory. You've been in Hickory once or twice?
Twice.
Come to Hickory twice. Okay.
Yep.
I know you were a big fan of the Hickory Tap Room downtown, I believe.
Indeed. And I had a good breakfast at the snack bar, I believe is called.
The Hickory, it's just the snack bar.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's the original name of it. It's the snack bar. So yeah.
It's very inventive.
That's right. So we're sorry we couldn't have you back in Hickory again this year.
Yeah.
William's actually this is his fourth film showing at the Footcandle Film Festival. We had Down in Flames was the first one we played. Mm-hmm. Then we had Bear With Us, a feature film that played as well. And then we had the last year was Mixed, a short film.
I was thinking I was going to have to help you, but you got it.
No, I got that. I've got reading my notes. My notes are good. I've got it. So that's great. So, William, good to see you again. Again, sorry we couldn't get you back to Hickory for a live thing time here, but this will be the next best thing we've got going on right now. So, great.
Indeed.
And then, Russ, you were also a writer on Bear With Us as well.
Yeah.
And were you involved in the writing in any of the other films, or was that the only one so far that we've shown?
I didn't hear the third one, but I think it was just those two.
Okay. The
Mixed.
third one was...
No, you didn't work on Mixed.
Oh, no, yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Right on that.
Well, Bear With Us was a fun screening that we got to have here a few years back. So kudos to you guys on that film in particular. But we're here to talk about the film that we just showed during our block, and it was The Speed of Time. And let me toss it over to you guys. Just tell me the overall main inspiration for wanting to do this film.
Sure. So the lead actor in the film, John Hennigan, is a WWE wrestler, and he is also an actor. And he and myself and Russ had been working on a feature film script for a while, and we finished it up last year, and we're kind of chomping at the bit to just do something together. The script we were writing together is like a big action comedy, not unlike The Speed of Time. And we were just wanted an excuse to get on set and do some fun action sequences and kind of show off our comedy chops. And we had an opportunity to take advantage of some incentives down in my hometown in St. Petersburg, Florida, through the film commission there. So we wrote The Speed of Time specifically to kind of satisfy that that itch. We wanted to do something funny with a lot of big, interesting, unique action and visual effects that we could shoot, for a budget down in Florida. And it kind of became a proof of concept for a feature. And yeah, that was the origin of it, right?
Yeah, we basically thought, wouldn't it be fun to try to cram an entire feature? Because we're both screenwriting professors. And so we're like, what if we hit all the standard story beats, but in like 10% of the time? And I think we just sat down and wrote it in like a single afternoon while you were dog sitting.
Yes. We had like brainstormed it and broken a lot of the story. But when we did sit down to just write the screenplay, it just flowed right out of us.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's really great. Now, of course, watching the film, obviously it borrows some inspiration from not only a certain genre of films, but also time period and everything else too. I could rattle off all the films that I think there's some level of homage to, and luckily it's all films that I'm big fans of. So this really kind of spoke to me in general. But tell me first though about, you mentioned about the lead actor, the kind of the connection there. Were both of the time travelers that we meet in the film wrestlers?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They were?
Yeah, if you're talking about in the red at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, so Nick Nemeth is also a wrestler, and he's a friend of John's, and they've worked together for a decade or so.
How was that?
Be a fun cameo.
How was that casting professional wrestlers as actors? I mean, obviously, wrestling's real, so there's no acting involved. So I don't know. I didn't know how they were going to pull off the acting job. So
you know what? I'm with you there. No, it was we kind of cast it through friends and people that we'd worked with previously.
Yeah.
My wife is in the movie. She plays his wife that gets,
right.
when the wedding gets interrupted at the beginning. And young John, Sean Marquette, he and my wife are on the Goldbergs together on ABC. So that's like, and their characters are a couple there. So that's a fun little wink to the fans of that show. And then when we were casting Orville, I think it was kind of a no-brainer for John to call in a favor from his buddy Nick. They look like they could be brothers, like they definitely look like they could be brothers. They get along really well. It's a kind of an ask to say, hey, will you fly to Florida for like 12 hours? These wrestlers, their schedules are insane, but will you fly to St. Pete, shoot in a bathroom all day, and then get right back on a plane and leave? And for a short film, for no money, and he was a total sport about it. Nick is also a stand-up comic, which is fun. So his comedy chops are there, and he totally understood what we were going for.
That's awesome. Well, I was going to say, both of them nailed it. I mean, as far as even the comedic timing and the cadence and everything was just, it was great. So I was really impressed to see that happen. So.
I think there's a lot of crossover between comedy and wrestling, but believe it or not, it's live theater. Their timing has to be so good, and there is a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff that happens, especially with their characters in their wrestling personas. Like they both have a lot of fun with it. They're not too self-serious.
Well,
Didn't
even
John,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Like wrestling wedding get interrupted by lizard people or something?
Yes. Yeah. Indeed. The storylines can get totally wild, which is fun.
It works. Well, even I think John Cena is hilarious in the things that I see him in. So again, it's
and
that
the
timing.
Rock,
The Rock, The Rock's great. So.
There's a long history of even Hulk Hogan. There's a history of wrestlers that end up becoming actors.
Yeah. That's great. So I have to ask you about just because I'm a huge fan of Back to the Future, and I am a big fan of Huey Lewis and the News music, and of course hearing the closing song of the film. Was that an original song written for your film?
It was. We wrote at the end of the script, like the credits roll over an original song called The Speed of Time, just as a total joke, thinking, wait, we think we can pull this off. And then, of course, I asked my composer if he could swing it, and he sent a really funny scratch track where he had just recorded himself kind of humming it and singing as he was devising the song into the notes app on his phone. And then he called in some favors from some musicians to get together and record it and make it a whole thing. And now it's like on iTunes and Spotify and Pandora. So you can go stream it and find it anywhere. Music it's on YouTube. You know, it's awesome. Napster even, believe it or not a joke. It's on Napster. You can find it there. But,
it really was something where as soon as the song started playing, it's like, okay, yeah, they're totally doing the Huey Lewis Back in Time song here as
you gotta.
So yeah,
it was great. You gotta bring it home in the end there. You get a little reward for sitting through 12 minutes of insanity.
Yeah, that's right.
So when you guys are writing, you know, you talked about how you kind of came up with the concept. I'm just curious from a writing perspective, is it like, Russ, do you kind of do a draft and then you throw it over to William and then William's like, okay, and then he like feeds ideas? Or is it just kind of like, how do you write? Or Russ, do you sit on William's shoulder and he types on the keyboard? And like, and then you like, how do you guys do that? How's the process work for you?
I switch shoulders for whether it's a good idea or a bad idea, you know, like have the angel devil persona. Our usual strategy is we do all the brainstorming together. So we'll just hang out at a coffee shop or having a beer or something and just do tons and tons and tons of outlining. And then when we start writing, like Will or someone will take the first scene, write the first scene, and then email it over. And then I'll revise that scene, write the second scene, email it back. So it's sort of this like leapfrog back and forth, which is really nice because like you don't have the pressure of having to write this whole script. Like you're only allowed to write one scene and you don't have to work on it if it's not sitting in your inbox. So it's very nice. But this is so short that I think we just kind of like did it all at once.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think that's accurate. I think we just sat in a room together, both laptops open, open to the screenwriting software, and we were just going through our outline and banging out. Oh, nice. You know what? I think we did like a compressed version of our Leapfrog system, but in the room together, where I like jumped ahead and did a scene, and then you caught up to me.
Well, that kind of fits with the movie then, kind of like working out of word.
So and that's why the movie makes absolutely no sense. That's
What do you mean? It makes perfect sense.
You're right. It does. Sorry, my bad.
Go back in time, you kill yourself. That way you don't exist.
The perfect time. Oh man, now we're just laughing at our own jokes.
That's great. So let me. This is something we asked the other group of short films as well. The idea of short film making right now, or making for shorts, right? I know you guys have been involved with several different formats. You've done features, you've done television, you've done short films. Do you find it with all the opportunities for short films to be seen with internet and streaming services and places, but there's also still just the glut of other content out there? I mean, do you feel like the idea of short films have a better visibility now, or do you feel like it's still a little bit of a struggle to find a great way to get short films seen by people? Because that's something we love programming the short films. It's our favorite thing to program at the festival. But we also know that sometimes for a lot of people, or almost everybody, this is their only exposure to some of these short films that we want to show.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money there. But I think that the film festival circuit is the sweet spot for short films as a filmmaker, because you get the opportunity to go around. If the film's any good, you could go to 30, 40 festivals and meet 30, 40 festivals worth of audience members, other filmmakers. I mean, I've hired people that I've met at short film festivals before. It's a great networking opportunity. There's, the internet, like you said, is so overcrowded that it's hard for a short film to cut through, because that's not really the format that people are looking for in like a YouTube video. That's, you could design a short that feels more like a YouTube video, but now you're making web content. You're not really making a film. So, I mean, there's nothing better than playing a film in front of a live audience, whether it's a short or a feature. And I think that the festival route is a really amazing opportunity to cut your teeth as a filmmaker, and also just to get your work out there and be in the room with people and hear the reactions live and connect with people in that way. Because that seems to be going away rather quickly. And there are outlets for shorts online. Shortoftheweek.com is a great resource. I love finding the stuff that they've put out there. And The Speed of Time was picked up by a short platform called Dust that does all sci-fi content. And that's out on YouTube. and their audience knows what they're getting. They know it's short film, but it's on YouTube. So they've kind of found a way around it. But yeah, no, I prefer film festivals all day long.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I know we're very sad, as everyone is, that, you know, we can't be there interacting with all of you who are hopefully watching this. We'd love to hang out with you.
I know.
Well, not to shift into a more serious subject, but got to kind of ask the question. It's kind of become the standard discussion point, I think, with a lot of filmmakers is, what's life like right now? Obviously in the midst of pandemic situation and a lot of shutdowns on productions and all. Where are you guys finding yourself at right now? What are you able to channel your energy and focus into right now, despite everything going on?
I channel most of my energy into just reading horrible news and lying awake all night, panicking.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's where I am too. So yeah.
We actually, Will and I did film something during the pandemic, and it was definitely a weird experience.
Yeah, it was to be on set with everyone wearing masks, standing far away from each other. There's a medic there spraying everything with antiviricide every 10 minutes. The actors were the only people that were allowed to have their masks off, and it was a strange set experience. And that was back in June, right when like the Screen Actors Guild laid out their precautions that needed to be taken, and production started back up very slowly. We were one of the very first LA productions that was up and running, when it was safe to do so. And it was fine. Everyone was tested on both ends of the shoot, and all the necessary precautions were made, and you eat lunch alone in your car. And it's just not that, filmmaking is such a collaborative thing. You want to sit down. It's a family, and you lose that. But that said, we were supposed to be on set with a feature right now, this fall. And that obviously got pushed. And I think indie films, the ones that don't have the big budgets, we're the ones that are going to have to take a little bit more time just because of the amount of money it costs to account for all of the necessary precautions. And it's precious dollars on a tight budget.
Well, I was going to say independent filmmaking in general, you're already on a fairly lean budget, and to add extra overhead just for precautionary measures, it could break the bank, unfortunately.
And if you don't have a distributor pointing a gun at your head saying you've got to deliver the film by this date, then it's safer to wait. It's going to be more fun to be on set. We make comedies largely, and it kind of requires a certain fun energy on set, and it's hard to achieve that when you can't see people's facial expressions. And it's challenging.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. So, just because I know William, especially, we've had you kind of in our festival before. We've asked some questions, and I feel like I may be asking you something I probably have asked you in years past. So I've
forgotten.
I was going to say we all have. So feel free to recycle answers. I think it's all fine. I think what we really would love to hear you guys tell us is, what kind of advice would you give to anybody who is out there wanting nowadays in today's, let's say post-COVID, but at least still in today's age, to get into the kind of filmmaking you guys are doing? You're doing a lot of creative mix of work, everything ranging from features to TV to shorts. And just to get into that world of just starting with production or starting to write production, I'd say less more specifically. What's some advice you give them? Some words of wisdom in getting into the creative business here?
Russ, you want to take it first?
Yes, I am prepared. I think one thing that pops into my head is that I have a few friends who just they made something called The Bachelor, but with dads, which is just like a comedy about a kid trying to pick a new dad, and there's a bunch of dads trying to compete to do dad stuff, like repair a lawnmower.
You don't need to explain it. The title is the pitch, The Bachelor, but with dads.
I went too deep into it, but it's just like, if you think of a funny concept, like, it doesn't have to be high budget or anything. Like, that's just a few friends who are just out there making a thing, and they're still making more stuff because, like, they can all just get tested and make web content and immediately get it out there and, like, get a fan base. So I don't know.
Make stuff is what you're saying. Just like, we learn by trying and failing. And honestly, it's not until I don't remember which one of my teachers told me this in film school, but your film isn't done until it's screening for people that you do not know. And now with the internet, you can get it out to the people you don't know very quickly. So I think that's it. It's about kind of putting yourself out there and putting your whatever is in your head, finding a way to get it. I mean, not everything's perfect. Short films are. I think they exist specifically to mess around and try things out and be ambitious in ways that you might not be able to pull it off in a feature, or you might not be able to get an audience to go with you on a weird journey for 90 minutes, but for 5 minutes, they'll be right there with you. So I think just making things and finding with iPhones now being able to shoot such good looking content. I mean, there's not much of an excuse if you have an idea. You can find a way to do it.
And this might be weird advice for like a film festival crowd, because, you know, we're all trying to like make real stuff, but like my favorite platform right now is TikTok. Like there's legit creative stuff on TikTok. That, like I see 60-second short films that I find very compelling. And that, you know, there's no barrier to entry if you're posting on TikTok.
That's true. I'd like to think that a lot of these social tools like TikTok and other ways of getting short videos out, I'm hoping actually kind of spur along the next generation of really great, you know, filmmakers that are not limited by time or not thinking about things and how long something needs to be. It just make it good and just get it out there. So I think that's.
I think it will. I mean, I think every filmmaker, when you're young, you just use whatever resources are there. You know, for me, it was like a high 8 camera in the 90s, and now it's kids with iPhones and TikTok. So, I mean, yeah.
We actually have a question from the audience here. So, Chris, you want to go ahead and fire that away?
So, here we go. Their question is, how do you know when to end a short film? Does the story dictate the length, or do you have a set length in mind from the beginning? How do you know?
That's a pretty good question, honestly. And as someone who's made shorts that are like Mixed is 3 minutes long, Down in Flames is 30 minutes long. They each had very different objectives as films. Mixed was the cold open of a TV pilot, and Down in Flames was an amorphous, let's find the story as we make it kind of mockumentary with an early cut that was over an hour long, you know? So I think you let the story tell you how long it should be. Otherwise you're going to force it, right?
But Will and I do have pretty strong advice, I think, which is like, make it under 10 minutes. It's advice we don't listen to, but mostly just, you know, it's annoying, but you do have to consider your platforms, I think. And like, if you want the film to screen for people, then you have to think, where's it going to screen? And then you think about film festivals, and it's just, you know, you have to be really certain the longer it gets, because it just has to be that much better.
You guys could program 3 10-minute shorts in the time it takes to screen one 29-minute short film, and
it's true.
We get it. I mean, like that's absolutely part of the deal. Shorter is better, and the internet too, right? The way that algorithms work, short videos are prioritized, and they do get more retention and more views. So yeah, I think you look at your platform. And also, if you've ever been to a film festival and you've sat through a short film block, you know how strange it is sometimes to watch a 5-minute short film that feels perfect, and then you watch an 18-minute short film that felt 5 minutes too long, you know? So you never want to overstay your welcome. That's for sure.
That's cool.
So, your realm for both of you seems to be comedy. Is that something you gravitate to when you choose to watch films? You like, you know, we like comedies. Why do you think you gravitate towards writing, directing comedy? Why comedy?
Russ?
I don't feel like I have any say in the matter. My brain just forces me to. I feel like I don't know, maybe just from what I watched when I was a kid, like I would just watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail, like on loop. And it slowly warped me into the deranged soul that I am today.
No, I got to say the same thing. I grew up on Monty Python and Weird Al Yankovic. Yeah. And I mean, we write other things. We write genre stuff. And one of the features we're putting together now is a drama. It's dark comedy drama, but it's not so in your face comedic as something like Bear With Us or Speed of Time. But no, I feel the same way the rest does. I don't have much of a choice in the matter. And if you find something that you're good at, I'd say run with it. There's people out there that are good at their thing, and I love them for doing it. And I think that we've kind of tapped into something comedically, at least together as a writing team. What's fun is that I know both of our styles individually are pretty different than when we come together, which is kind of an interesting thing to look at.
Totally. It's also, I think, natural because when you co-write, comedy is just way more fun because you're just trying to like spitball and make each other laugh.
Yeah.
So I think that.
No, you're right. The greatest joy when we're like co-writing a feature or something is when I'll get a text from him quoting a line that I wrote the day before, that just cracked him up, and it's fun. Yeah.
Awesome. I kind of going more back to the specifics of the Speed of Time. I'm thinking back over the films I've seen, William, that you've done, that you've shown anyway. We've shown at the festival. I got to imagine that the special effects budget seemed to be much more on the higher side with the Speed of Time. You'd had some experience working with special effects before this film to some degree, right? I mean, or was this a little bit more extravagant for you than normal?
Way more extravagant. Yeah, I mean, I had dabbled and had, like Down in Flames, for example, uses VFX in a way that's, I think, clever enough that it's hard to tell exactly what's what. Mm-hmm. It's hard to tell because we mixed real fire and fake fire pretty interchangeably. And so I'd had some experience. And with this project, The Speed of Time, we knew VFX were going to be one of the big highlights. And fortunately, John had worked with this VFX artist before. Mm-hmm. So again, it was a favor. It's a short film. We weren't asking him to do a 2-hour feature film. It was, hey, here's this cool thing. Everyone's going to have a blast. We're going to fly you to Florida so you can be on set and supervise the visual effects actually in person, which was that's something that I've never worked with before. Mm-hmm. And then in post, it's like your baby. I mean, the portal that he designed, that's fully custom from scratch. Wow. That's our VFX designer showing his chops and using it as an excuse to show off his skills. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. It makes the post process a lot slower, just because the amount of hours that have to get put in to turn out VFX of that level. It's, and again, on favors, right? This isn't anyone's day job making the speed of time. But which, maybe one day it will be, but for the time being, we're just trying to carve out as much time as we can on the side. But yeah, it was mind blowing for me to work with him just because of his sheer talent, but it also required us to do a lot more prep than usual because, the way we have to shoot it.
Mm-hmm. Having him be there from the beginning so that you got to feel safe, like knowing that everything you were going to shoot was going to work.
Yeah.
That's got to be I got to imagine that's got to be the nerve wracking part you're shooting all this stuff and in the back of your mind, you got to be thinking, I sure hope the visual effects guy can work with this because otherwise we're kind of sunk. And
well, fortunately he was right there next to me at the monitor. And there were times when I was like, there's no way that we can do what you just suggested. And he's like, no, it'll be fine. And sure enough, it was totally fine.
Yeah. They looked great. They really did look really good. Awesome. What was the blood? What was the blood real versus digital blood ratio? Would you say? I mean, what were we looking at there? Well, I don't mean real blood, like actual physical.
Well, I think for all of the effects like that, we tried very hard to have as much practical done. I mean, the stunts, for example, are that's like 90% practical stunts. Occasionally, someone getting blasted away will be extended in post, but they were really on a wire being, pulled,
nice.
So like that kind of stuff. The blood was, I don't know,
maybe crouching down, holding a cup of fake blood.
It was mostly practical. And then we enhanced certain effects.
Sure.
A lot of the Time Borgs, when their heads get blown off, that was fully, visual effects. That was all because to do that practically would have been a lot, but it's probably like 60% actual movie blood on set, and then 40% VFX.
Yeah, very cool. That's not too bad there, Chris. Chris, you got anything else for him there? Sorry.
So I mentioned this to William on one of his trips to Hickory, and I'm hoping Russ can help me convince William, maybe work with William on that. Maybe he knows where I'm. William actually got me to go see Weird Al live in concert. And one of William's trips here, I told him, I was like, I want you to do a documentary on Weird Al. I want you to do that because I think he's somebody that deserves it. And, you know, so I think, you know, if you guys chose to, you said you have done some dramatic stuff, you know, both of you, but I think that would be an awesome project for you guys to work on.
I mean, I feel like that'd be Will's dream.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be a dream project to be involved in. What's so funny is people have tried to make documentaries about him before, and he, like, you know, they'll ask to go on tour and do a, you know, backstage kind of thing. We're on the road with Weird Al, but he's like, I'm so boring on tour. I'm performing for like 4 hours a night, and then I'm signing autographs until midnight, and then I'm sleeping on the tour bus as we drive to the next place, and then I wake up and I don't talk all day so I can save my voice, and then I perform again, you know, and that's it. But his career, I feel like there's a biopic in there somewhere that's super fun.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's got to be in the calling sometime soon. So
Yeah.
Whenever Will and I go on a trip, it's like we'll do writing retreats to try to crank out a script, and he'll just put on Weird Al and we'll listen to it for like 4 straight hours. It's pretty cool.
Well, we originally brainstormed Bear With Us on a trip to a Weird Al concert in San Diego.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
very nice.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
That's great. Well, what anything you guys are working on right now for kind of going forward? Anything new? Anything you want to talk about? Plug, share, tease, anything at all?
Well, I mean, just to the generic plug of Bear With Us is now, you know, kind of available streaming anywhere. So it's free in most places like Crackle and Tubi and even YouTube. But then obviously it's on Amazon and iTunes and all that.
Absolutely.
But we just finished up a script about I guess we can talk about this, the Master Sommelier exam. I'm not sure if you're too familiar with it, but we wrote a comedy about that, and that's kind of working up into, you know, production.
Right, that's the one we were going to be filming
right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're trying to figure out a plan, and we're ready to go with it. But that's an exciting, a fun one. And if you haven't seen the documentary Somm, SOMM, it's a real documentary about real people taking this insane test. I highly recommend it. It's on Hulu or Netflix or something, and it is wild. It is the world of wine tasting is. We've gone down a rabbit hole since starting to write this movie, and I know way more about wine now than I ever thought I would. But hopefully, that's a movie we'll be screening at Footcandle Film Festival in a year or two.
Well, because at that point, you would be a 5-time participant, and I think Chris, is it smoking jacket? What do you get at 5 times? I think it's
so.
something, or some sort of bathrobe we have with the logo on it.
Hey, I'll take a pewter mug at the tap room. I'll go for that. I'll even throw down. I'll split it with you.
That's great. Is there anywhere, if anybody wanted to kind of follow what you guys are up to, or projects, or anything like that, any way to connect with you guys socially?
Sure. So Russ lives at 16. Just go say hi. We're both on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at WJ Strobelight on both of those. And where are you, Russ?
I think I'm just at Russ Nickel on
much easier.
Awesome. All right, very cool. Well, listen.
Sorry, Russ Nickel Strobe Light.
No, that's not it.
All right. Well, listen, guys, thanks so much for joining us tonight. And you guys are on the West Coast, so it's not as late for you. It is a little late for us, but we really do appreciate you guys coming out and joining us virtually. And again, we wish this could be in Hickory, and hopefully at some point, you know, Russ, we have a chance to get you out here and enjoy Hickory as well. So we'll try to work on that sometime in the future when things return back to normal. Okay. And
can't wait.
Good deal.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for joining us, and to all of you watching on the audience live or watching it later on. I hope you've enjoyed the film block so far. We're probably kind of like at the halfway point of the festival as far as the live programming is considered. So we've still got a full day tomorrow and Sunday of films to come. Don't forget, if you're watching this, we do have a live closing awards ceremony event going on Sunday night, 7:00 Eastern time. It doesn't require a ticket. It's free. You can hop in and watch it. And it will be available later that night, too, if you can't make it right at 7:00. But we will be presenting the awards for the festival weekend. Best short film, best feature-length film on documentary and narrative side on both of those, as well as our audience favorite awards. If you have not voted yet for the films you've seen up to this point, you need to go back to the original page on the festival website where you were able to click and unlock the film. If you go back to that, you'll see that there's now a bar underneath it saying that you can rate the film because it knows you saw it. So please go back and rate films if you didn't get a chance to do that. All the ratings help determine our audience favorite awards on Sunday night. And as long as you get those awards, those votes in by, what do you want to say, 6 o'clock that night? That gives us enough time to tabulate for about an hour. So 6 o'clock on Sunday is when we need your votes in, so we can make sure we get them in to figure out who our winners are for the audience favorite awards. So, but anyway, hope you're enjoying the virtual festival. We miss seeing all of you guys in person, but